Edo State Governor Godwin Obaseki on Wednesday criticized the Tinubu administration for lacking a clear plan to mitigate the untold suffering and hardship inflicted on Nigerians by the ill-timed removal of subsidy on petrol, according to him. Addressing newsmen in Benin, the state capital, the governor described the federal government's palliative concept as fraudulent, saying his administration would implement measures to support Edo people. Dayo, Sobowale, our own Arise News analyst, joins us to assess the various measures being taken by the federal government to ameliorate the pains of fuel subsidy removal. Good to see you again, Mr. Sobowale.
Yeah. Good to see you, Mr. Sobowale.
All right, Edo governor's accusation, is he saying anything new? He's been critical of this government lately, and is there something more to it, you think?
That's politics. It's the other party, but then I'm sure it's a state too will benefit from the allocation to the states. Immediately, the answer I will give one positive, constructive, the other in the same vein as he has criticized government. Mm-hmm. You see, the chairman of the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Reforms and Tax, Sobowale, just highlighted that the federal government has given over 900 billion, distributed 900 billion between the three tiers of government, state, federal, local government. So that money for this month was as a result of the fuel subsidy removal. Yeah. And they went further. He said people should not be congratulating governors when they start projects because it's their money. That people should follow the money. People should know what their taxes are being used for. There must be accountability. You get me? So that is something positive. Now, for him to turn a blind eye to the fact that ministers on the ground, I think it's being politically mischievous and unrealistic. The ministers have taken their responsibilities, and you can hear so many things they are saying. The humanitarian lady says she's moving with the speed of light. The Minister of Works, I said, he will review all contracts and make sure that the roads are working. And that the only person he fears is God and the president. That he doesn't care, and that he's a field man. People are on the road fulfilling their obligations. Yeah. So it's not a matter of the president alone. So for you to say, the concept of palliative is a financial concept. And we all know that it has been very difficult to remove it. But this is the first one that has the guts. And we are feeling the pains of it, but we are hopeful things will come out. Yeah. But then let me refer him to his own state too. He should put his house in order. There is one Ogbemudia Osagi, Labour candidate, governorship aspirant, who is saying that, see, when he gets into power, he will take care of the insecurity in the state. Now in the state, people are afraid to go to the farms. People are afraid to go to war. That he will bring businesses from diaspora, because Edo has the largest number of people in diaspora. But people are afraid because of insecurity. Who is in charge of insecurity in the place? It is not Obaseki himself. So he should put his own house in order. It is all right for him to criticize government and put government on his toes. But then you must acknowledge when there are problems and when responsibilities are fulfilled. Indeed. Because that's the essence of government.
True.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Sobowale, let me play devil's advocate a bit.
As usual.
A second part of his statement, he said, I'm shocked that people who campaigned around the country saying they will remove subsidies had no clear plans whatsoever to do after the subsidy removal, and that they don't know what to do and how to support the victims. And now, to further respond, he said, it seems like the government doesn't have a plan or a solution on how to respond to the consequences of these policies that they've put in place. Now, if we look at the body language of the country right now, first off, the announcement of the fuel subsidy, even though we knew it was coming, it seemed as if it came in a rush because the president said it or put it out there during his inauguration speech, and it's been how many months since then, and it still looks as if we're still trying to grapple, we're still trying to figure it out. So when we're looking at what this statement is saying, it's like, why didn't we put these plans in place first?
Who are the we?
I'm talking about the current administration. Why didn't they put the plans in place first before announcing fuel subsidy? I mean, it's been something that we've been, the country, the administration has been talking about from Jonathan's time to Buhari's time. 3 more months or 6 more months wouldn't have, made things get this bad as it says, especially looking at the fuel subsidy and floating the currency, the naira. So isn't there some truth in what Governor Obaseki is saying?
Are you not in Nigeria?
I am a Nigerian.
You do not know, you have not heard of fuel subsidy is gone when it was not in the presidential speech, and then the president said it. You are not aware of that? Are you not listening to all these things I just said?
I am listening.
And I said ministers have been appointed.
Yes.
The revenue allocation person has said there are plugged holes. There are plugged holes in taxation. It's a new body brought on board, a new president, new ministers. You are not aware of new ministers?
I am aware. I'm talking about
you
the
have
timeline.
No hope that those.
I'm talking about the timeline. Why weren't plans put in place before?
How can you put them in place?
It is possible to put.
It is not possible.
It's not,
because the moment he said fuel subsidy is gone, we got into trouble. Are you not in Nigeria?
Exactly.
We got into. That's what he says. He's gloating over it, and we are gloating with him.
No,
in spite of all the efforts.
I'm looking at the two sides of the argument. We need to also understand where he's coming from.
I made the statement. You ignore what I said because you had your question ready. You ignored what I said. But what I will repeat what I said again. Taxation. You use taxation, plug the loopholes in taxation, and then money saved from fuel subsidy is gone. It's being distributed to the 3 tiers of government, and then people are being asked to follow the money. That you should not, I'm repeating myself now. Don't ask another question like that. You get me? And I've told you that Obaseki himself, has problems of his own in his own territory because somebody is planning to come and rectify the situation. Government is a continuum. Fuel subsidy was to go in the last regime. It is the same party. It did not go. And this guy had I will say audacity, but I'll call it audacity of hope, like Obama's book. You get me? And people have been bearing along with him, including yourself, even though you complain about petrol prices the other time. So everybody we are all in this together.
All right, Mr. Sobowale. Of course, we also have to add that it wasn't even in the budget that we're currently running. Provisions wasn't made for that. Now, in terms of implementation of palliative measures nationwide, how can federal government ensure accountability on regional custodians of those palliatives? Who takes the blame or failure of otherwise of this?
The 5 billion to the state.
Yes.
The Casina guy, I said they have given them only
2 billion.
And that he has bought grace with that. But then you look at it, this is the federation, the states wait only for grant from the federal government. That is creating a proper charity mentality, beggar mentality.
Tokenism.
At the state level and at the local government level. You see the local government, the roads are bad, but you see the opulent lifestyle of councillors and chairman of, the two don't rhyme. And that's what this taxman has said, that follow the money, that they will publish the amount they are giving people. Now ask them, what have they done with it? Not that when they do project, they do party, that it is our money, and they are using it for public goods. You get me? And people should watch the lifestyle of their leaders and talk.
Indeed.
I think that's the essence of accountability and transparency and good government.
Definitely.
Right.
I want to just veer off a bit. I like the fact that you spoke about, even cutting the cost of governance, because that is something that has come up a number of times. And now we're looking at, even Governor Obaseki himself, who has come out to criticize Tinubu's palliative plan. Now, how, when we look at it, Nigeria's budget allocation has been skewed towards, recurrent expenditure with a significant portion going to salaries and overhead costs. So how can the government begin to rebalance its budget to, prioritize capital expenditure?
The priority now, is to minimize the effect of this fuel subsidy removal. You get me? Because so many things depend on it. But then, to say that government has not done something is not fair. Look at the Minister of Power. He says he will use the Electricity Act. The Electricity Act is there. The discos are doing as if there is no act. The regulatory authority is doing as if they're still in control. But that is not the case. There is a law, just like in the US. They have problem after COVID. Inflation Reduction Act, tax reforms, plans to generate income so that people have jobs and they can live a decent life. We are not resting on our hours. By we, I mean all of us as Nigerians. Because if Nigerians have not been patient and understanding of this regime, there will be fire by now. Like in Kenya.
And tolerant.
Yes. Or, well, some maybe we are having a servile mentality. I wouldn't put you to that. We are not hopeless. We are not hopeless. And since we elected the leaders, the onus is on us to give them the benefit of doubt that they will deliver, especially now that you have over 40 ministers. Before you were asking for Tinubu said alone now. But we have 45 ministers now. So let's have some hope.
All right. Mr. Sobowale, so are these short-term measures, looking at what some say is inadequate, so what should we do to make this all-embracing, as it were?
It's speed now. See, it's a human situation. They say Rome was not built in a day. And we have mentioned the issue of patience. But this patience should not be stretched too long. And at the same time, people should adapt. Adapt. You see, we should not be Nigerians are hard-working people.
Yes.
They make ends meet, even in different circumstances. I've seen people who work in ministries who are not paid salaries for long, but they find a way to hack out a living. We should not allow a beggar mentality, which is the bane of state governorship now, looking up to the center every time. You get me? And not being able to look after. See the way the man in Katsina spoke. That he has already used what they brought, looking for another. That's beggar mentality. They don't have resources in Katsina. Don't they generate revenue in Katsina? On what basis did the state governor campaign to get, he promised some things? The governors, that's what the taxman was saying. The governors should be made to account for the taxes they raise. What have you done with it? Follow the money. So you don't hear that now. Follow the money. That's accountability, that's transparency. That's what we need. It is our money. This is our collective responsibility.
Talking about following the money, about 2 weeks ago, the Edo State chapter of the APC actually described the plans by this same governor, Obaseki, to give 20,000 naira to 310 households as palliative for the removal of fuel subsidy as deceptive and fraudulent. In fact, he even threw it back to when they had the COVID-19 palliative disaster, where the governor said he had spent 2 billion naira. So when we're looking at even his own plans in his state to give 20,000 to 210 households, what do you make of that, Mr. Sobowale? Well,
it's a step in the right direction. You want to say it's a drop in the ocean, but it's still something. It is still something. Because and even Obaseki, I keep on commending him here, was the one who just first made transportation free for people there. He's concentrating on the digital economy for education, and he has done a great deal for his people. And the way he said it was being isolationist. That will look after his people as if he will not take money from the center. If they give allocation, it's their constitutional right to have the allocation. Because Even though he was in both, he has been in both parties anyway.
But the age-old question on who gets what. 310 households, but yes, those who need it the most. That's the issue right here.
But you see, what he has said has been corroborated even by the taxman, that the people that are suffering most are those down the ladder. The 71 million people that people living below poverty line, like the Minister of Manchurian something. They are there. The goods don't trickle down to them, and that is bad. And that is why Operation Feed the Nation, Green Revolution, Better Life for Women, and all that. We've been distributing things, palliatives, but it has not lifted people out of poverty.
Very good. On that note, Mr. Dayo Sobowale, a Rise News analyst, would like to thank you for your input on those issues.